start?
Where are you sitting?
Right here.
Oh, yeah. The majority gets here. That's when we start.
Louder.
That's my friend.
That's the one serious priority. It's an adult problem.
Slides so we're not blocking everything.
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Wow, excuse me. That was a bit inconceivable. Welcome, friends and family, to the wedding of Jeff and Kris. I will be your guide through the day's spiritual endeavors. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jeff's brother, Mark. You may call me Your Eminence or Your Excellency, either shall suffice. And for those of you that do know me, yes, this is legal. I am now the family's Reverend Jesse Jackson. And along with that comes the power to doom you to eternal damnation. Let's remember that, Mom and Dad, when we're looking at the will next time. Now that was some beautiful music we heard as Kris entered. It reminds me that marriage is a lot like a violin. Once the beautiful music is done, all the strings are still attached. Marriage is to be taken seriously, however. We are here not just to join these two people together, but the two families. Yes, this Brady Bunch of sorts will not have an Alice here to bail them out of trouble. That will follow on the rest of the families. Yes, they will most definitely need many, many prayers, and occasionally a few sacrifices if that's what you're into. Personally, I would recommend a bucket of KFC if you're going to. Along those lines, finding Jeff and Kris together was very difficult. They only worked together in the same building, on the same floor, but Kris was the quiet lady at the end of the hall. So they had to go to Chicago to meet each other. Of all places. But that being said, you have to see through all of that to try and find that one special person that you can annoy the rest of your life. After all, what is the most important quality in a spouse? It's someone who will stand with you through all the trouble you wouldn't have had if you just stayed single. I myself have been married to my incredible wife, Sarah, for nearly 12 years now. And it's been quite a wonderful journey.
I didn't think popes could get married.
In my church they can, thank you. Quiet.
Sorry.
Personally, I think one of the greatest things about marriage as both a husband and a father, is that in my house I can say whatever I want. Of course, no one's usually paying attention to me. I've also heard it said that all marriages are made in heaven. Well, so are thunder, lightning, tornadoes, and hail, so... Now, I would like to tell a quick story that often sums up what marriage is actually like. The child was a typical 4-year-old girl, cute, inquisitive, bright as a shiny new penny. When she expressed difficulty in grasping the concept of marriage, her father decided to pull out his wedding photo album, thinking visual images would help. One page after another, he pointed out the bride arriving at the church, the entrance, the wedding ceremony, the recessional, the reception. Now do you understand, he asked. I think so, she said. Is that when Mommy came to work for us? As I was preparing for today, I wanted to add scripture to the sermon. I wanted to make it meaningful, inspiring, and special. Along those lines, I consulted many of my colleagues, including one Father Dan. And as we spoke, we exchanged many ideas that were truly inspiring. So now I would like to ask that colleague to come up. Padre, would you be so kind?
Yes, I need them. In preparing for this, I found some really good jokes on how hockey was better than whoopee.
Sheesh.
But since Jeff, although not by himself, decided to call me Father Dan, I decided today I would give them some advice. Fatherly advice. Kris, Jeff, here's my 2 cents. Opinion number 1. Remember that the real act of marriage comes from the heart. Not from a ballroom, not from a backyard, not from a church. It's a choice you make. Not today, but over and over. Each and every day, again and again. And it will be reflected in the way you treat each other. So when things don't go your way, yes, even when the Red Wings lose, be kind to one another. Love each other even when it's the hardest. It's going to be a lot for you. Because marriage is not a noun. It's a verb. It's not something you get. It's something you do. It is the way we love and support each other every single day. Because a strong marriage rarely is 2 people being strong at the same time. It's a husband and wife being strong for each other when the other feels weak. So let the choice you're making today be reflected in the actions, words, and feelings that you have today for the rest of your lives. Opinion number 2. There are many symbols used to signify 2 individuals coming together as one in marriage. The one I thought of first was the unity candle. 2 individuals, I'm sure you're all familiar with it, light a candle, then light the unity candle, blow the candles out. I prefer the symbolism of a boat. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. But your marriage is a symbol of a boat. It doesn't have a motor, it doesn't have a sail. It's got the 2 of you, and each of you have an oar. You have to constantly communicate, work together, or the boat's not going to move. You have to maintain it, treat it well, or your boat's not going to float. You must shield it, protect it, so it can withstand the storms you will face. And if it ever becomes tarnished, you must lovingly polish it so that it gleams like it does today. Kris? Jeff? Treat your boat like your lives depend on it. That's my 2 cents. May God bless the 2 of you, your family, and your marriage.
Thank Please save your applause till the end. Thank you, Padre. That was truly inspiring. You've definitely lived up to your reputation. Now, I would like to read a few Bible verses that I thought were very fitting today. Yes, Mother, they're actual Bible verses. You can stop giving me the stink eye now. And don't forget, I still hold the power of eternal damnation. So, even though I came all the way from Wisconsin, I did bring my travel version of the good book, just so that we all had it with us. Proverbs, chapter 27, verses 15 to 16. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as constant dripping water on a rainy day. Stopping her complaints is like trying to stop the wind or trying to hold something with greased hands. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 19. It is better to live alone in the desert than with a crabby, complaining wife. The book of Job, chapter 13, verse 5. If you would only be altogether silent, for you that would be wisdom. You heard that, right? Just want to make sure you got that one. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 6. Give beer to those who are perishing, wine to those who are in anguish. And now I would like to do a reading from the Gospel according to Mark. That's me. Moses fled Egypt and became a herdsman for nearly 40 years. It was during this time that he wed a younger woman named Zipporah, daughter of a Midianite priest. For a time, he was happy. Then God said, Moses, it is time for you to return to Egypt and free your people, the Hebrews. To which Moses replied, all of them? Even the married ones? God said, yes, Moses, all of them. You will lead them through the desert to the promised land. Moses said, yes, Lord. Thank you for offering me a break from my wife. God replied, she's to go with you, Moses. So after 40 years of not asking for directions, Moses and the Hebrews finally arrived at Mount Sinai. Moses immediately climbed to the top for some much-needed alone time. While at the top, God spoke to Moses. He told him to tell his people to prepare for some important words from him. 3 days later, the mountain shook and the sound of trumpets blared. For 40 days and 40 nights, God instructed Moses as to how people were to live. Moses carved those words onto stone tablets. What most of us don't realize is at this point, Moses was over 80 years old. He was also the first person to have said that marriage is a lot like the army. Everyone complains, but you'd be surprised at how many re-enlist. And while we've all heard about the 10 Commandments, what we really don't know is that when Moses was on his way back down the mountain, he dropped one of the tablets and broke it. Yes, there were originally 15 commandments. So now, in honor of Jeff and Kris's marriage, I've brought to you those other 5 commandments. And these are all very important to a happy marriage. Commandment number 11. Thou shalt not start a conversation during sports, except during commercial breaks. Commandment number 12. Thou shalt not ask if any body part looks fat in any piece of clothing. It goes for both of you. Commandment number 13. Thou shalt not pinch in the third when only up by one. Commandment 14. Thou shalt leave large tips to those who perform marriages. Brendan, I'm available tomorrow. Do Do you need it? No? Thought I'd throw it out there. And commandment number 15. Thou shalt not have headaches after 9 p.m. And that is the gospel according to me. The good book. Oh, that is a good book. So what does this have to do with today's wedding? It shows that in a marriage, neither the husband nor the wife is perfect. But if they keep working at it, they can be together a long time. A very, very long time. That, and I just really like that story. Now, Jeff and Kris, would you please hold hands? I will now have you express your love to each other through your vows. Jeff, we'll start with you. Please repeat after me. I, Jeff, take you, Kris.
I, Jeff, take you, Rachel.
Kris.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Where were we?
I, Jeff, take you, Kris.
I, Jeff, take you, Kris.
To have but not hold because that is a 2-minute minor.
To have, but not to hold, because that is a 2-minute minor.
In good times and in bad.
In good times and in bad.
I'm sorry for all the stupid things I'll say and do.
I'm sorry for all the stupid things I will do, say and do.
Like yelling at the TV and leaving the toilet seat up.
Like yelling at the TV and leaving the toilet seat up.
I will not check from behind unless granted permission.
I will not check from behind unless granted permission.
I will clean everything you want me to clean after telling me a third time.
I will clean everything you tell me to clean after telling me a third time.
And will love you all the days of my life.
And will love you all the days of my life.
Kris, will you please repeat after me? I, Kris, take you, Jeff.
I, Kris, take you, Jeff,
To have and to hold,
to have and to hold,
in good times and in bad,
in good times and in bad.
while you are on the IR or actually in the lineup,
While you're on the IR or actually in the lineup,
while you're riding the bench or cherry picking,
while you're riding the bench or cherry picking,
I am sorry for all of the money I will spend
I'm sorry for all the money I will spend
on expensive sandals and other sparkly things.
on other sparkly things.
I am sorry for any nagging and constant reminder to not get hurt at voodoo.
I'm sorry for all the constant nagging and reminders to not get hurt at voodoo.
I will love you bald or with a toupee. I will do my best to get you to dress fashionably
I will do my best to get you to dress fashionably
and will love you all the days of my life.
and will love you all the days of my life.
Now, we do have a ring, right?
Oh,
Yep.
did it again.
That's okay.
Here you go.
I do now see why they call marriage a 3-ring circus. We have an engagement ring. We have a wedding ring. And next summer, or next week, we'll probably have some suffering. Jeff, do you take Kris to be your lawfully wedded wife?
I do.
Kris, do you take Jeff to be your lawfully wedded husband?
I do.
You're sure this is your last chance to bail?
I do.
If anyone has any reason why these two shouldn't be married, please leave now because I really don't want to hear it. By the power vested in me, by the Universal Life Church, for real, the state of Arizona, and unfortunately by my current state of sobriety, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may now kiss the bride, but please remember there are children present. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and privilege to present to you Mr. and Mrs. Wait, Jeff, you're taking her last name, right? Mr. and Mrs. Peterson. Congratulations.
Kris, were you going to sing? So, we have a bit of a confession to make.
Don't you have to turn around to do that?
That's extra.
We didn't actually get married. It's kind of an April Fool's.
What? Tomorrow's April Fool's.
We actually did it last night because we didn't want an April 1st wedding. So this was just all kind of for fun.
It was a wedding.
We didn't drink and eat everything last night, so we were kind of hoping all you guys would just come over and eat a lot of food and get drunk tonight.
I get paid twice.
So if you would, please, eat and drink. We don't want a lot of it left over. Thanks for coming out.
We had one guy who was straight. That was great. That was a great talk.
Picture. Oh, we can picture. Someone get a picture. We have to have napkins.